Hey guys, it's Lisa from Kitchen Witch Boutique. I'm outside, as you can see, and the sun is right in my eye, so I'm gonna try to just switch that a little bit so I'm not getting a glare. That's the best I can do. Today is May 16th, 2022. So I've been getting messages like crazy from Papa Zaka, Azaka Meade, or as others call him, cousin or country cousin. Papa Zaka is a very much loved spirit in our house. He's Papa Getty's brother, but he is represented by a Haitian peasant. So May is his month to celebrate him. And it's kind of interesting because, the path that my life has taken has been incredible. And my dad was a gardener. Okay. I mean, he wasn't like a professional gardener. Like he didn't do it professionally, but I remember many times my dad growing tomato plants, flowers, and I've had dreams for years about the backyard of my parents' house. My parents are passed now, but one of the things that I always dreamt of was planting lemon seeds with my dad. Well, Papa Zaka, he's an incredibly hardworking spirit. He is the god of agriculture. He's the god of farmers, patron saint of farmers. He's associated with Saint Isidore. Saint Isidore was a very holy man. He was married to another saint named Maria. Saint Isidore performed many miracles in his life, including feeding people. He had a stew that he was making. He was an extremely hardworking farmer. He was very devout, very devoted to God. And one of the miracles he performed, like Jesus and the fishes, is he had a stew and everybody from miles upon miles came and he fed the entire village where he lived. And miraculously, this stew that he made never ran out. So Zaka to me represents the abundance of the harvest. And one of the things is Papa Hector, Hungan Hector, my godfather, is having a service for Zaka this Saturday on May 21st. I'm going, of course, as is a lot of people. I love Papa Zaka. Like I've been cultivating my garden. I've been planting, medicinal herbs and that kind of stuff. My lavender and mint came back. I had to laugh because I planted them next to each other. They're in front of the statue of the Virgin Mary to represent Ursula, and they're literally growing together like this, which is funny because I didn't realize it, but lavender and mint are actually in the same family. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. But Papa Zaka is associated with the avocado. So one of the things that he does when he comes to service is he tells people about the food. So like he carries a medicine bag. I'm not pronouncing this correctly. It's called a macout. It's basically a little bag that he puts his medicinal herbs in. And it is said that Papa Zaka does much with little. In the Voodoo Tarot, Papa Zaka is represented by the 10 of Wands. Okay, the 10 of Wands is usually the card of being overburdened. But in Zaka's case, it's somebody that's given so much responsibility, and what others may fail to do or to achieve, he manages to do it. He's an incredible businessman. Zaka helps for lack of a better word, he helps the poor and downtrodden. Like say that you're going to buy a car, okay? Like Zaka will get you the best deal. If you're going to go into negotiations for a business, he'll get you that loan. He works really hard. He's super humble. He loves to eat. One of the things that always makes me laugh is he loves to eat. He does not like people touching his food, which is understandable. I mean, he works hard. If you think about it, like on the farm. And my grandparents lived on a farm. I barely remember it. They lived up in Rummerfield, Towanda, Pennsylvania. I remember my grandfather, yelling at me because they had a big piano and I banged on it. I was about 4 years old. There were bears. Look at that. You see that, Hawk? There were bears. There was all kinds of things around. And like he puts in an honest day's work, and he's very blunt. He's very to the point, loves his children. And he has many. Okay. He likes women. He is Papa Getty's brother. But Zaka, as I was preparing for this podcast, because I never know what I'm going to say, it just kind of comes out of my mouth, which thank God, because sometimes, but Papa Zaka, for lack of a better word, he nourishes and he feeds the earth. So one of the things that he had said to me, because he came to our last service, which surprised me because he doesn't come to service very often. And I was very, very happy that Papa Hector is doing a service for him and Ogu, which is interesting. He said, everybody in the house should plant something, and we should bring in the results of that planting. I love avocados for whatever reason. The avocados right now are not doing well. Like, they're very expensive, they're hard to find, or they don't ripen, or they just go like bad very quickly, etc. So he said to me, he said, plant. I said to him, how do I make my garden more magical and, more life sustaining, and, how do I make it healthier? And he said, plant 3 corns and a pineapple. So I was really lucky. There happened to be a pineapple on the altar. Papa Hector said, take it. It's in my garden right now. He said to us last time that we have to be careful with the food that we're eating because, I don't want to get political and talk about COVID, but, with the COVID vaccines, and I'm not trying to be all into that, whatever, but they are depressing people's immune systems, recognizing that anything that you put in your body that is a foreign pathogen, is going to cause a reaction, in your immune system. So Zaka's aim, on earth is to make sure people are getting proper nutrition. They're getting, proper. Okay. So he said, feed the body, nourish the spirit. Nurture the spirit. That was my chef logo. I went to chef school. I was a personal chef for a few years. And one of the things that I recognized and I always appreciate is that when you cook the food, you have to put love in the food. Like, if you just cook the food and you're banging around the kitchen and you're yelling and da-da-da, whatever, like, the food's going to feel it. Okay. The same way that the land is going to feel it. Like, if you come out, and Papa Zaka just said he's the original hippie. I just got Jerry Garcia just went like that. When you throw shit onto the ground, when you litter, okay, when you put your cigarettes out on the ground, toxins in the earth, okay, like, you're killing the earth, and the earth is basically going to come back at you and also harm you. So his number one priority is keeping the earth safe. Number 2 is keeping us safe, making sure that we live a healthy and happy life because, he loves children. He's considered somewhat of a fertility god because of the earth, the spring. He is a god of the spring. He said to us, he said, people are, the genetic mutations are going crazy. So he said, just be careful what you eat, do your research. But, right now, I'm collecting donations for him and Ogu because when people give offerings, and he loves money, let's face it, like, he does, like, he's somewhat of a banker. So, if he's showing me the 10 of diamonds, okay. So when you petition Zaka, like, you have to recognize that, like, he's a no bullshit guy. I mean, if you sit there and you're like, I need this, you are going to work for it. Okay. Like, there's no free lunch here. Okay. Like, there, and people, like, I have discussions all the time with people who are like, oh yeah, I work with this spirit, I work with that spirit, and I got this, and that. Yeah. You're going to pay down the end. You're always going to pay in the end is what he says. He said, you have to basically be willing to put yourself out there. You have to be willing to put the work out. You have to be willing to make the sacrifices, because think about farmers. Okay. With all this COVID stuff, the farmers have suffered a lot. They can't get their products out. There's a whole big hold. Like, nutrients are lacking in the soil, acid rain, etc. But Zaka, I love Zaka. Zaka is one of the kindest. He just said he's so handsome. Like, yeah. He's I'm channeling. I'm very fortunate to be able to come into this space that I can share some of the earth's wisdom for you. Some people think that they can fool me and put down any old thing and I'll just be okay with it. The earth never forgets. Children, look to the skies for answers. Look deep in the earth to find your souls. There is a heartbeat in the earth, for she is your mother. Hi.
I just loved it. I used to live here a long time ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is it nice?
It's beautiful.
Yeah, I know.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's like out of nowhere.
Okay.
I used to take the train. So
Where this lady? Sorry. Okay, you can cut right through. I'm so sorry. I'm in the middle of a podcast. No, you're fine, love. You're fine. No problem. Thank you. Bye. Okay, that was a little weird, but it's all good. Anyway, just lost them. A lady was saying she used to live here and she's like, is it still nice? Whatever. And one of the really nice things, I live, over here in Hatfield, is that people all over the complex have started to plant stuff. Like we have gardens and like little, whatever, but people have started to plant stuff. I went outside a few days ago and I planted some squash and, I planted an avocado, and to grow your own food is one of the greatest joys that you can do because you're putting that love in the soil. Like you're putting that intention and that beauty. I see a spirit behind me right now. Who is that? That's an angel. Oh, okay. I see some Fey energy right behind me. That's really interesting. Anyway, Zaka is very amenable, if I'm saying that word right, to working with people to make sure that they get what they need. He said sometimes you don't know what you want, but you always get what you need. So they just said in times of strife, there's always a Prince of Peace. Okay, that's from my podcast back on the winter solstice. We're coming up to Litha, and we're coming up to a summer. It's going to rain a lot this summer, he said. He's saying there's going to be a scarcity of corn. He's definitely associated with corn. Last year in my garden, I had a lot of bird seed and just to be like a dupe ball, I threw it out like on the, on the ground. Well, the crack corn actually sprouted corn, which was hilarious because it says it's not supposed to do that. But he said, when you plant corn, you plant memories. Now think about this. The Native Americans, corn was holy to them. It was holy. The corn itself was a god. It was a deity. Popcorn came from the Native Americans. They strung it. They wore it around their necks. They put it in their, in their headpieces. They traded it. Maize. Corn is what would be considered a holy spirit, is what he's saying. So if you're looking at, how to work with this stuff, corn silk is amazing for money magic. Corn husk, amazing for growing things. He's saying, wrap your intentions in a corn husk. Just as I said that, there's a little tiny spider crawling on my computer. That's really cute. Wrap your intentions in corn husk. Put it in the ground and say, Papa Zaka, please bless this. He likes to hear people talk about him. That's what I'm hearing. Because he knows that his message is received. The Loa and the spirits are worried about this earth because there's a lot of shit going on. There's a lot of unrest. A lot of people are starving. A lot of people are on welfare. It's really hard to make a living these days. We need to support our brothers, is what he's saying. We need to support our brothers and sisters. We need to support each other. Because without the farmers, where are we going to be? What are we going to do? Eat McDonald's all the time, is what he's saying. And then he said pink slime. That's what I just got. He needs people to know something. What you put in your body is what's going to come out of it. He's okay, not to be gross, sorry, but he said, you know, when you go to the bathroom, everything that's toxic is going down, into the sewers. And, you know, those systems, like they put chemicals in there, to control bacteria and toxins and that kind of stuff. There's a backflow, that's going into like the lakes. Okay. It's poisoning the lakes. So he's saying, try to eat organic as much as you can. Watch sugar. Sugar causes major inflammation. Like, I know this. I love Pepsi. Like, I drink Pepsi every single day. My doctor yells at me and I'm like, listen, like, it is what it is. But he said, watch the curing of meats, because this is one thing. And I believe the medical medium says this also. He said, when you smoke meats, like on a smoker, a lot of carbon dioxide is released. It gets into the environment. It gets into your lungs. That blackening gets in your lungs. Okay, I can attest to this. Like, I have the beginnings of COPD. Like, I used to be a cleaning lady years ago, and I used a lot of bleach. Now, I'm short of breath a lot, which is ridiculous. I don't smoke. It's just, it's hard. But plant medicine is Zaka's specialty. He is a master herbalist. Okay, so there's not a plant on this planet that he doesn't know and have an intimate relationship with. And he will tell you. He says he's associated with the pea family. I don't remember the Latin name for that. It's like something with LAM. He's associated with avocados, cantaloupes, honeydew melon. And he says gourds, absolutely. He said that in order, sometimes, this is something that I've been hearing from him, he will work with you also if you build, I don't know what to call it. For lack of a better word, it would be like agave. Like, I've been hearing from him to take I can't remember what it's called, but it's one of the gourds that, like, it's got the long neck. He's saying it's called a gooseneck gourd. It's like the long neck with the gourd. And he said, put some money into it. Put something in the pea family in there. I'm also hearing cascarilla powder. Okay. And, basically paint it, with his name, put some signs for money, put it in the garden. Your money will grow. Okay. Like, that's from the source. Okay. Like, that just came right in my head. And I'm like, sweet. Now I got to go find a gourd. But he said, as long as you respect the earth, you respect each other. Stop blaming others for your problems. Get back to nature. Seriously, like, if I don't get outside every day, and I'm so grateful that it's so nice out, I don't feel good. Like, I feel just like, ugh. A large part of the nation's problems are based on the fact that people don't feel heard. Let's say that again. It's really important. A large part of the nation's problems is that people don't feel heard. Zaka said, what is the most common and powerful way to celebrate each other's differences? Breaking bread. Breaking bread. Okay, he loves cassava bread. Cassava is, I hate when they do that. Like, I hear spirits in my head going, okra. I'm like, no, it is not. Cassava, this is going to drive me nuts. All right, fine. I know what it is. It's just, fine. It's, people, they do this all the time. They think it's hilarious. The best way to put your intentions into something is make a meal for yourself or other people. Like, he likes sweets. I just gave him some rice pudding and some flan. Make a loaf of bread, braid it, put your best intentions, put some sesame seeds in there, pumpkin seeds, and bring it. Okay, now I'm make me some bread. Yeah, thanks a lot. Like, earlier he was like, get me some corn muffins, and I'm like, oh, I don't have time for this. Now they want to bake bread. That's just, they know I love them. Like, I would run myself ragged. I really would. In sharing, he's saying, in sharing the earth's bounty, because he is associated with the cornucopia, you share your light with others, and others share their light with you. We're all human. We all need food to survive. We all need the creature comforts. We need companionship. Lay our problems on the land, he said, and the Lord. You have to remember, oh, okay, as soon as I said that, a little black cat just came out from behind the tree. That was interesting. Lay your problems before the Lord. Saint Isidore was so adored by God that he got up every morning. He plowed the fields. He worked so hard that one day angels came and did his work for him. He went to mass or, church or whatever. Angels plowed the fields for him. Like, people actually saw angelic beings, plowing the fields for him. Okay, I'm hearing he's associated with St. Michael. I love St. Michael. St. Michael is awesome. He said he has a lot more to say on the subject, but again, the service at Papa Hector's is going to be on Saturday. I'm going to be, when the service is done, I'm going to be channeling and, passing messages, etc. Because, usually with services, Zaka and Agu will come. Anna Asa usually makes an appearance. Legba, of course. I'm hoping my baby Papa Getty will come because I brought him back some rum from Puerto Rico and cigars. And I'm going to give him a big hug. Matrescently may come. It depends. We are so fortunate in this day and age that the ATRs are being recognized. This is him. The ATRs are being recognized for what they truly are. Healing religions. I love me some horror movies, okay, but that's not what it is. Voodoo, Voodoo, Santeria, I can't say Candleblight. All the religions are the ATRs. They're to ensure our survival on Earth because we have so many people, that betrayals and just people really can be rough. They can be really hard on each other, etc. He said, if you got your ancestors with you, got your spirit team with you, you have it all, and let your life reflect your worth. Don't run around being crazy. Take care of yourself. He said, eat just enough to be full. Watch how much you're spending. He's thrifty. Okay. Like he's a farmer. Like they don't, he's not out there like spending money and being all crazy, whatever. Be thrifty. Everything that you put in the earth, she will reward you. Praise be to God. Ayubobo. Blessed be. Everybody have a beautiful day. Love to all of you, and I'll see you soon. Bye.